I guess the first thing to talk about would really be, well, the Kiev Major. Are you surprised at all to receive an invite?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't really surprised. We won China top, and we won Dota Pit as well. So I wasn't that surprised when we got the invite. I know a lot of people were like not sure if we would get the invite, but I'm pretty sure we would have got the invite even if we didn't play well at Dota Pit.
Were you surprised at any of the other invites?
I didn't expect them to invite Wings, but that makes sense as well. Like they.
What are you talking about?
Are you talking to me? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. I thought it was fine for them to invite Wings, though. They haven't changed their roster, and they're still playing fine. So I think all the invites kind of made sense. Like, there were arguments to not invite AdFinem, but they chose to invite them too. So I think it all made sense.
Were there any teams that you would have invited?
What I have invited that weren't invited, or
That weren't invited that you would have invited?
I think. No, I think the invites were fine. I didn't see any teams that really deserved an invite that wasn't invited.
Moving on to the qualifiers for Kiev, are there any teams that you're particularly paying attention to that you think are underrated?
Qualifiers. I'm looking at the American qualifiers. I guess NP seems to be playing pretty well right now. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in the American qualifiers. As for the China qualifiers, I don't really know what's going on there. I have no idea. Europe, I want to see if Bears is able to take it. They have some competition in secret over there, but I think personally that Bears will win it. So I think the biggest teams I'm watching out for are Bears and Bears and NP.
Bears and NP. Speaking of Bears in Europe, they've also got a competition from Cloud9 Alliance. Do you think Europe's the most stacked region for qualifiers this time around?
I think NA is pretty stacked too. Like, Europe is always stacked for the qualifiers, but I think this year there's a lot of good NA teams, so those two regions will be interesting to watch for me.
So, how happy are you of EG's performance since the Boston Major?
I'm pretty happy with our performance. I think we're learning stuff as a team, and we're coming together pretty well. We just have to keep honing our teamwork, and I think we'll be fine.
Did it take long to get used to Dota 7.0?
It didn't take long. I think it was a good thing for us because we had some people who come from different teams. Like, Artur was on Secret, I was on EG, Crit was on OG. So I think a new patch was like a good fresh start for the team and a way for us to all be on the same page from the beginning of the patch. So I think the patch worked out really well for us in that way.
Are there any changes that you'd make to 7.0 right now?
I don't enjoy playing against Caudle, or I guess just Caudle right now. I would change Caudle the way it worked. Other than that, I don't really have that many changes.
What makes Caudle rough to play against?
It's just annoying for an offlaner, like in pubs especially. Like, he just throws this mana leak on you, and it's like there's just almost nothing you can do until you farm up an item, unless you play like Abaddon or Omni. So it just makes the game very unenjoyable from an offlaner point of view.
Aside from that, the offlane's still pretty fun, still pretty viable.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm at a fine place for the offlane right now.
What's your favorite hero to play as right now?
Favorite hero. Let me think. I enjoy playing Abaddon recently. Abaddon, Centaur can be fun sometimes. It's kind of boring though. Yeah, just Abaddon, I suppose.
And what about your least favorite offlane hero to play right now?
Least favorite offlane. Let me think. Probably like Slardar or something like that.
Why?
It's just kind of boring, you know. All you can do is just stun, try and farm up your blink. You can't really do anything fancy.
Moving on a bit, what do you think makes EG different from other Dota teams?
I think we have really high individual talent on this team. So usually on teams there's like some weak spots here and there, but I don't think we have any weak spots individually. So it's a lot easier for us to focus on strategies, and it's easier for us to know what went wrong in a game. Kind of sets us apart.
How's Crit as a captain since he took over the reins from PPD?
It's fine. Honestly, there hasn't been much of a change for me personally from his leadership and PPDs. I think I'm able to do the same things that I did in the previous roster and help out in the same way.
What makes Crit different from PPD? Any noticeable differences?
Noticeable differences. I guess he's more open to some ideas, and I guess he meshes better with certain players on the team personality-wise than Peter did. Those are the main differences.
Could you further that?
I'd prefer not to.
Fair enough. Fear retired back in September after TI6. Now that he's the coach for EG, has your relationship changed at all?
No, nothing's really changed between me and Fear. I think he helps out. He helps out with our drafts mostly and our strategies.
What's he like as a coach?
He just tells us, like, he gives us like another outsider opinion. Like, it's hard to see things from an outsider perspective sometimes when you're playing, and he's there and he sees, and he's very familiar with the system that we have, and it's just nice to have him around and tell us what we're doing wrong.
Would you say that going to NA Dota, do you think that's more competitive now than it has been in the past? Since we see Digital Chaos, Team MP, Complexity still around.
Yeah, NA Dota is a lot more competitive than it used to be. You have Onyx, you have Complexity, you have MP, you have all these teams now. Like, before, it was pretty easy. Like, back during TI4 or TI5, I feel like EG was like uncontested. Like, any team we played in NA would just get destroyed, but it's not the case like that anymore. So teams have definitely made strides and caught up.
Which team do you think is the most underrated in NA?
Underrated team in NA would either be Team NP or Complexity. I think it's Team NP though. I think they're a pretty good team. They just have yet to show it on LAN.
How would you describe each of your teammates on EG?
Each of my teammates, I guess, like individually, one by one.
Yeah, one by one.
Okay, I guess Crit is pretty logical. Artur is a clown. Sumail is the flashy guy, and Zai is the quiet one. It's a tough question.
Some people have called you the anchor for EG. Always there, always dependable. And when I talked to Crit back in November, he said that you're always there during a draft to bring up a good point. Would you describe yourself as the anchor for the team?
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty consistent, and for every team, it's nice to have like that player that is like does like the same thing over and over again. Just like it's nice to have players on the team that create space and make like flashy moves. So I think you need a balance of the two, and that's what I provide to the team.
Going back a bit, do you have any regrets over the past year?
I don't really have any regrets. I think a lot of people think that my move to Secret was bad, but I think at the time it really needed to happen. Like, the roster on EG just wasn't working out. I wasn't enjoying playing Dota at the time, so it was really nice to have a nice change of pace in Secret. Obviously, our results weren't that good, but I don't have any regrets about making that move. I don't think I have any regrets in Dota.
When you returned from Secret to EG, did you bring anything back with you? Any lessons, any information? Did you apply to EG?
It was a pretty humbling experience. I think when I went to Secret, my intention was to make like this really good team. I've always just wanted to be part of the best team, and that's what I tried to do when I went to Secret. So it kind of made me realize that you can't just put like 5 really great players together and hope it works out. Like being on a team is more than just that. So it made me a little bit more humbled.
How do you recover from losing? Because when you were on Secret, obviously the performance wasn't very great. But even on EG, when you lose, let's say, the major or tournaments, how do you recover from that?
You just have to understand why you lost and then move on. Like you just have to forget losses. I've seen a lot of players dwell on losses, and it makes it hard for them to like play the same hero, or they just get like some mental block about a particular loss. Like it was like you play Enigma and you have like a really bad hole or something like that. It just dwells with them, but you just have to forget losses completely and move on. That's the best way to deal with them.
Have you ever dwelled on a loss before?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about our loss at TI6 quite a lot. I haven't really thought about losses other than that too much. TI4, TI5, TI3 was pretty bad too, but TI6 was definitely a tough loss.
Did it take you long to learn that lesson, not to dwell on losses?
It didn't take me that long. I think I've always known it from an early age.
Who's been the most inspirational figure in Dota for you? Who have you learned the most from?
Who have I learned the most from? I don't think I learned the most from like any one particular person. I've learned stuff as I've gone along, but I don't really have like a role model in Dota or someone I really look up to.
So what are some people that you have learned from, if there isn't one particular person?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned stuff from Fear. I guess he'd be the biggest influence as far as that would go.
What has he taught you?
Just a lot of things. I mean, I lived with him for like 3 years, so we just, I'm sure we taught each other some stuff, but nothing that comes to mind right away.
Moving on, what's a typical day like for you? A perfectly average day.
Perfectly average day. If things are going well, I go to the gym in the morning. Then I come back and we scrim in the afternoon. And then I play some pubs and go to sleep. Maybe a couple CSGO practice rounds here and there. But yeah, that's like an ideal day. I didn't go to the gym yesterday, but I hope I can continue going.
How long do you guys practice together in scrims versus how long you practice in pubs?
I think what we do is we either play 1 or 2 best of 3s a day with another team. So we play about like at most 6 games of team practice together, and then however many pubs people feel like playing that day. So it could be the same, or you could play more pubs than that, or less. Depends.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content, be sure to hit that subscribe button.